Governor, thank you for joining us. You have some things to say. You were there. You know these people very well. First of all, what are your thoughts on this undoing of Kevin McCarthy's speakership, and then we'll get to who you think should replace him. But your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a sad day for the institution. I'm hopeful that Republicans will learn from the experience, that America will be better off in the future, but I do think that this is a challenging time for everyone, and we've got a lot of folks out serving in the House that are anxious to get better focus going forward. You know,
there are people on the left, the media is frankly wildly left-leaning, and those Democrats say this created chaos. What Gates did was proof that the GOP is in chaos. And they keep using this word chaos, but the truth of the matter, this wasn't chaotic at all. This was regular order. In other words, it followed regular rules in the House. These were rules that were placed so that if McCarthy didn't produce the things that he promised, he could be up for a vote to vacate the speakership. No chaos. It looks chaotic, but give us a sense. Things are going to be okay for the GOP?
Well, you're exactly right in the fact that they followed the rules. I will tell you what is chaotic is the fact that the House of Representatives has a rules committee. They can go to that committee every single day, change the rules according to how they want them. It's one of the things that I recognized right away was the reason that Washington, D.C. is broken, is because if they don't like a rule, they go rewrite it and throw it out and write a new one. They do it for every single bill that comes to the floor. They do it for every procedural process that they have. So, yes, they followed the rules. Yes, it was a debate on the floor that was hard to listen to at times. But I will say what makes Washington, D.C. is broken is that the entire rules process and the fact that they have a rules committee that rewrites the rules every day is one of the main reasons why our country is not respected when it comes to the legislative process.
Let me ask you, I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but is there someone that you think would unite the GOP or tamp down the quote-unquote chaos in Washington to replace Speaker McCarthy? Sorry.
Well, I think, there's a lot of people that are considering throwing their hat into the ring for this leadership position. To be honest with you, Eric, I think there's an 80% chance it's going to be Jim Jordan. I think he's probably the guy that most members will land on and give the chance to do it. I do think it's a very difficult job. And when John Boehner resigned, everybody rallied around Paul Ryan filling that role. And I know it was incredibly difficult for him, and he didn't leave in the best of circumstances with the same reputation that he had before he was Speaker. So I do know that it's a challenging job. I feel like whoever they choose, there's a bit of setting them up to fail because the expectations are so high. But I do think that there's going to have to be someone who's proven that they'll fight when it's important, someone who will investigate the corruption in Washington, D.C., and that most of these members at the end of this consideration period, they'll probably land on Jim Jordan is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that they're going to wait until Tuesday to start talking about this. Now, Jim Jordan threw his hat in the ring, as well as several others, including Steve Scalise. Scalise has some health issues, which may come into play. But I think I would tend to agree with you that Jordan seems to be the guy that most people have a lot of respect for. You may not like him, agree with his politics, but the respect part of that gavel holds a lot of weight. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think the world of Steve Scalise, too. I really do. I don't know if he's the guy at this time, but that man has taken a lot for this country. And so we've been praying for him and his health and that his family will continue to do very well. I think that what is interesting on this process is that this is a difficult job, that they will make a decision. I think it's insanity, Eric, that they went home. I cannot believe placing that vote, having that situation happen, and then everybody going home. I'd have made them sit there and be miserable until they got their act together and decided to govern this country like respectable human beings. So that's a different decision that I would have made, but we'll see what happens here in this week and if they actually can come together and do something.
I don't know your relationship with Matt Gaetz, whether you know him or like him for that matter, but, like him or not, there wasn't going to be change in D.C. until someone stepped up and did something and created the eyeballs on what's going on there. Do you support what Gaetz and the other 7 did?
I listened to Matt Gaetz talk, and I listened to what he says about what needs to happen in Washington, D.C., and I can't disagree with it. We've been one subject bills need to be done. We need to do every appropriation bill. If you had that kind of a rule and held strong to it for 6 months, yes, it would feel chaotic. But boy, people would start to reach across the aisle and work with each other. If nobody could move a piece of legislation that was important to their district, they'd learn to start talking to other people in other parties, other districts, learning about their topics of interest to help them get their bills passed that were important, to help them get theirs done. Coming into Congress, I was the one person from South Dakota that was in the House of Representatives. I didn't have a delegation. So I had to get to know every single person in the House in order to get anything done that was important for my state, because nobody else cared about South Dakota except me. And I learned to discuss things with people, debate policy, to do the hard work to pass bills, and I was very successful at it. If we had one subject bills that passed, you'd see a lot more people talking to each other, and that means we'd have better bills and we'd have better governing of this country, and we'd fix a lot of problems.
And you certainly have you've taken it to the next level. You've done some great things in your state. You're a great governor of the state. You're a great representative of the conservative voice in the state, and it's working very well for you. Can you tell us, and I'll let the folks, I'll let you tell it what it is, the Buffalo Roundup. And full disclosure, Governor Noem was very nice to invite me to go to that. I couldn't do it because of time constraints, but I would love to have done this, Governor. I want to take a rain check, but tell us what this was about.
Oh, every year we have a fantastic Buffalo Roundup at Custer State Park in South Dakota. It's incredibly important for our state. We get 25,000 people that travel to our state to watch it. I get the chance to ride on it and help round them up, and we bring them in and vaccinate them and work them, and that is one of the funding sources to maintain this park. So it is the wild, wild west. It gets really rough. And it's challenging and dangerous, but boy, is it fun. And so next year, Eric, you got to come. You just got to come. I won't make you ride a horse, but I'm going to get you out there in a chase vehicle. And there's so many people, even professional cowboys, that say they've never done anything like this before. And it is a fantastic experience to know that that kind of heritage is still alive in the United States of America.
Well, I have a question for you, Governor. What
Yes,
makes
sir.
you think I'm some sort of city slicker? I can't ride a horse? Is that what you're trying to say?
You just have to run flat out with a buffalo chasing you as fast as you can and still live through it. That's all you need to do.
Well, as long as it's not a boar, I'm
Okay.
out. If it's a boar, I am absolutely out. But it's buffalo, they seem like such nice little animals, big animals.
All right, we'll get you out here.
I'm definitely going to take a rain check on that. Governor Kristi Noem, congratulations on what you're doing. And again, we'll get you back one of these days to talk about presidential politics. But right now, it's the House that's dominating the news cycle, and really appreciate your insights as a former House member and now governor of a great state. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.